Denver City Council says businesses surrounded by homeless encampments need help to stay afloat, while the mayor's focused on creating housing instead of sweeping those camps. A rural school board invokes the 9/11 attacks to ban mask mandates that don't currently exist. If your Colorado ID won't scan at airport security, you're not alone.
It was a known issue. Officers knew it. People knew that.
And following up on our shared fascination with Colorado's hundreds of license plate types, a change in state law means some drivers will have to swap out old plates for a new variety.
How do you feel about seeing all these black license plates?
I think it's pretty cool.
I'll let you be the judge of that tonight on Next. Denver City Council and nonprofits working on homelessness have some serious questions about Mayor Mike Johnson's signature plan to move 1,000 people off the streets and into housing this year. The mayor says it'll cost $48.6 million to get it done. He says $750,000 of that total is for what they call encampment response, outreach to people in encampments and temporary hygiene services. But the Colorado Coalition for Homelessness says that outreach could cost millions of dollars over the next few years. They're asking for $6 million through 2026. A lot of that would be to help people from encampments into shelter or transitional housing. The Johnson administration is taking a far less aggressive approach to homeless sweeps than Mayor Hancock did. So that means that encampments are staying in a single location longer. There have only been 3 sweeps since July. Some on city council are now asking for extra funding to help out businesses impacted by those encampments.
We know that in some ways that camps in and around those areas have sort of grown since the 17th of July, but they all will say that this challenge has been something they've been dealing with since long before.
I know each and every encampment in D9 between Ballpark and Curtis Park, they have doubled, and those businesses are going to close because that pain is real in District 9, and we have institutionalized businesses that will not make it through the fourth quarter.
City councilors floated the idea of grants to help small businesses. Mayor's office says they will look into that, but they said that they are, quote unquote, radically focused on their short-term plan to get those 1,000 people out of encampments and into housing. The Elizabeth School Board is one of the most interesting in the state. I told you how a few months ago, the most hardline conservatives on the school board were so fixated on culture war issues that the other Republicans on the board resigned rather than deal with it. So now the Elizabeth School Board is just made up of culture warriors, and their latest focus is fighting pandemic restrictions in an imagined future. On Monday, the board unanimously passed a resolution committing to in-person learning for this school year and every single school year in the future, even if that means that the district will ignore orders from the state or some other authority. The school board's resolution says it will not allow mask requirements, vaccine mandates, will not allow social distancing, called all that COVID theater. The resolution is almost word for word a resolution put out by a conservative parents group, Moms for Liberty. The school board's vice president says this is about parental choice and also 9/11.
I actually love that it's on the anniversary of 9/11 actually too. It's, you know, this is amazing. I think there's a lot of other districts that are going to do this. They're your children. You get to decide their health. Absolutely.
We talked to the head of Moms for Liberty in Colorado, and she said that they have heard from several school districts in Colorado interested in passing their resolution, and they've also shared it with schools across the country. Going through airport security can take longer if you're from Colorado. It's not the lines at DIA, it's our IDs. TSA promises our Cole Sullivan it's fixed the problem, sorta.
Picture the perfect day at DIA. I know, it's going to take some imagination. But let's pretend the A-line's running and South Security does not wrap around baggage claim. You get to the front of the line, show your Colorado driver's license, and that's the end of the DIA dream.
I can't be specific about what was going wrong, but I can tell you when it brought to our attention, we worked on it.
TSA spokesperson Lori Dankers acknowledges what so many of you have emailed us about. For some reason, the TSA machines didn't like Colorado IDs.
Yeah, so it was happening frequently. I don't have a percentage, but it was a known issue. Officers knew it.
She says the CAT was the problem, short for Credential Authentication Technology. That's this thing the TSA agent uses to scan your license to see your name, DOB, flight info, and whether you're pre-check or not. Unless you had a Colorado license, in which case, not so much.
Colorado driver's licenses for some time were difficult for the CAT unit to scan. It wasn't reading them as if it was a valid credential, even though it was.
Often agents had to scan it a couple times, then had to confirm you are who you say you are, the old school way, looking at your boarding pass and your photo.
So it may take a little bit longer, but I would say because it's such an important function that we'll have to take the time that it takes.
Documents we got from the State Department of Revenue, which oversees the DMV, say TSA has owned the issue. Dankers doesn't know what to blame it on.
See, I don't even know the answer to that. What I can tell you is when things come to our attention, we look into it. We take steps to correct it as much as we can.
Now, she says, TSA has updated its CAT database of IDs.
And I'm happy to say that the Colorado issue is really not much of an issue anymore. There will be times when it doesn't work, but the vast majority of Colorado IDs can be read now.
The vast majority, but not everybody. And if the ID doesn't scan a DIA, it's not going to scan at any TSA checkpoint. The TSA says you're still going to get on your flight. It might just take a few more minutes. One solution they propose, Kyle, is you can try downloading Colorado's mobile ID. That'll work at DIA to get you through faster. It won't work at airports that aren't equipped for that technology.
I will say for most of us, it's been years since we've had the thrill of handing over an ID and nervously wondering whether it's going to get rejected or not.
I know you're standing in that line and it's going back and forth and they're scanning it again and
Yeah.
again and again. They say that they'll just go through that process, check it manually, and then you'll be on your way.
Away you go. All right, Cole Sullivan, thank you. The move to make Aurora's mayor more powerful, like Denver's system of government, it's not going to be on the ballot this year, but opponents have not been able to stop it from heading for the 2025 ballot in Aurora. So this was the ballot measure secretly led by Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman and a conservative dark money group. They dropped their 2023 push after they got unmasked. City Council is united across ideological lines against Kaufman's idea, and a former city council member tried to get a court to kill the ballot measure for good. That failed this week. It's not clear if supporters are going to be able to just recycle all the petition signatures that they've already collected for the next time that they could put this on the ballot. It would be 2025, not 24. Should also mention, it's not even certain that Kaufman will be the mayor at that point because he's up for re-election now. I love a solution that tries to address several problems at once. So we've talked about how Colorado has a shortage of early childhood educators, workforce shortages in general. Meanwhile, you've got an ever-growing group of older Coloradans who are looking for purpose and engagement. That's why this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports Early Childhood Service Corps, which is working to address both those issues at once. The nonprofit provides free training for older Coloradans who are interested in getting into the early childhood field. And then they directly connect them to partner with early childhood education centers across the state, places that are desperate right now to find willing and trained workers. And they're centers that embrace the idea of having some older adults bring their perspectives to the classroom. The nonprofit Early Childhood Service Corps trains adults 50 and older on how to either become a classroom volunteer, that's kind of like their basic training level. Then they offer deeper college level coursework for people who are willing to become teachers or substitute teachers. And others who don't really want to be in the classroom can become trained to be volunteer business advisors. They use their lifetime of skills in fields like accounting so that they could, say, help run the books for a small early child care center somewhere in the state. The organizers tell me that a lot of their volunteers are men who say they feel like they missed out on their own children's childhood because they were working so much. They want to give back now and help kids. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. As always, I'll never ask you to give if I don't, so I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us started. The Early Childhood Service Corps offers connection and purpose to older Coloradans while providing crucial help for early childhood educators who are out there teaching our kids.
We don't slow down and throw quarters in a big machine like we did back in the day.
Toll lanes work differently now, and that is also why some Coloradans are going to have to give up old license plates they love. And the plan to rename one of Colorado's best-known mountains is back on track. Friday's the day for the final vote on renaming Mount Evans. Concerns from a Native American tribe paused that decision for 6 months. So the mountain's currently named for former Governor John Evans, who authorized the Sand Creek Massacre of women and children. The Southern Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes wanted the name changed to Mount Blue Sky, A state advisory board and Democratic Governor Jared Polis were both on board with that. But before the final step, federal approval, another tribe asked to be heard. The Northern Cheyenne tribe, which is now in Montana, uses that phrase, blue sky. They said that the name change was sacrilegious in their view. They are suggesting Mount Cheyenne Arapaho. Federal naming board has talked with folks. They're going to make a final decision on Mount Blue Sky Friday. Denver's property owners decided that the city should take over sidewalk repairs as opposed to individual homeowners. Voters made that choice in 2022, but the city's plans and the fees that everybody's going to be charged for this could be on hold till next summer. So homeowners were supposed to start paying into the city's sidewalk repair fund starting January. Those fees will be tacked onto each property's stormwater bill. Lots are assessed based on a variety of factors: length of sidewalk, what kind of street. City Councilwoman Amanda Sandoval says the process could disproportionately impact low-income families who live along busy corridors, and she wants to push this fee collection back to June while the city looks at the structure. That got past the City Council committee yesterday. There will still be a public hearing and a full council decision on it come October. Come October, Danielle Grant. Today the kids asked me when the leaves turn and fall from the trees, and I said, hold on.
Hold your horses.
Savor the last little drop of summer, won't you?
We still have a couple more days, maybe a week to go before we officially welcome in, yes, the fall season and start to see those leaves changing. Up into the high country, I've started to see a couple of photos of the changes happening, but kind of a slow start to usually that peak season that we see here in Colorado. As we look out to the high country, a storm actually brewing. Mostly cloudy skies out there with a few scattered showers. Not the case here in town. It felt a little bit more like summer at 82. Soak it in while you can. 70s and 80s off to the eastern plains with 60s and 70s to the mountains. And again, that's where most of the action has been throughout this afternoon. Also, right across our border into New Mexico, some scattered showers, thunderstorms impacting parts of Trinidad. Otherwise, we're dry up and down the I-25 corridor, heading up to the high country. That's where you'll find a little bit of rain tonight. Our main storm system, however, will not roll in until tomorrow afternoon, at least here for the Front Range. You can see that cold front sliding in by tomorrow morning. Back behind it, some good beneficial rain around here. It looks like about 3-4 o'clock that we'll start to see those showers begin to fire up here in the city. About 11 o'clock, we're pretty quiet. And then tomorrow morning, it's a dry beginning to the day. You have errands to run, you're walking the dog. Probably in the morning rather than the afternoon and evening, because this is all coming our way. We'll be tracking widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms here across the metro area starting at about 3-4 o'clock. This is dinner time, and then as we look ahead through the evening hours, 11 o'clock, still raining. Right now, computer models indicating easily a ½ inch to upwards of an inch of rain coming our way through Friday afternoon. Again, the party gets started by about 2-3 o'clock as far as the rain goes. Temperatures a whole lot cooler tomorrow, running about 10 degrees cooler than our average in the low 70s. Upper 60s with a good chance of morning showers on Friday. I think the afternoon into the evening, you should be A-okay, and we bounce back. The 80s are back in action on Sunday and throughout much of next week.
I love that we didn't put the Buffs logo on the forecast because you have to put the CSU one on too, or else people get mad. Hey, whether or not you are a smooth driver, you'll be required to get a smooth license plate. That's next. One of the reasons you're seeing so many of those retro black license plates on the roads is because Colorado's been leaning on people to ditch their old plates. A recent state law requires most of us to get a new license plate when we get a new car. Marshall Zellinger shares my nerdy fascination with license plates. We know a lot of you do too because you write in about this all the time. Marshall, this new license plate requirement, I mean, that's helped juice the popularity of these black plates. They're the 6th most popular in the state, even though they're only, what, like 8 months old?
8 months old, and the reason we can blame is bumpiness. Lawmakers decided that the raised numbers and letters on the regular license plate will wear out over time, so now they require you to replace these when you get a new car, hence all those black license plates. But those new black license plates, and even like the alumni license plate here, they're printed and not raised. So if you have one of these smooth license plates, you can take this with you to a new car. With more than 5 million of these on the road, the green on white license plate is far and away the most popular in Colorado. For anyone who has one of these plates, when you get a new car, you are required to get a new plate.
Through the process of driving on dirt roads or using a lot of car washes, the reflectivity gets reduced.
Plates with raised letters and numbers that might wear out are one of the reasons then Republican, now Democratic State Senator Kevin Priola sponsored the bill in 2021.
Actually, I passed a gentleman in a pickup today that his front plate was completely metal. So I don't know exactly how he did it, but there was no color on it.
New plates also mean they can be recognized by law enforcement, which also means law enforcement license plate scanners, as well as scanners on toll roads.
We don't slow down and throw quarters in a big machine like we did back in the day.
The popularity of license plates has changed since we showed some of the rankings last month. The second most popular plate remains the temporary tag, with more than 319,000. Fleet plates, which are red on white mountains, are in third, 185,000. Collector plates for older cars are in fourth, with 112,000. The designer plate is fifth, with 93,000. The new black plate, which has only been around since January, is already in sixth, followed by the Columbine plate, disabled veteran, wildlife sporting, and in 10th, the blue on white mountains plate that car dealers use. Some plates do not have to be replaced. Special plates like Adopt a Shelter Pet or Pioneer, and school alumni plates like CU and UNC, these are digitally printed and smooth and can be transferred to a new car. So you want to keep those random letters and numbers, like I said there, in the smooth style. Most of the smooth styles, you can take it with you to a new car. But let's say you just cannot think of remembering another license plate and you're married to having AZZK66. If you want this on a new car, you can still have it, Kyle. You just have to pay to have it personalized. $60 the first year, $25 every year after that to have AZZK66.
No, I'm sorry. No.
The worst personalized plate.
Yeah, pay $60 a year to make an as of yourself, K66. No, not going to happen. All right, Marshall, thank you. Your feedback's next. It's a sign that the deer in this state aren't fools. Scott sent us this picture he took near Carter Lake in Loveland. Sign says no hunting. The deer is looking at him like, try it. Violate the rules. See what happens to you. If you see a sign that stands out, send it our way. Next@9news.com is the email. You can use the hashtag HeyNext. The nonprofit Early Childhood Service Corps has a unique approach to solving a persistent problem, the need for workers in Colorado's daycares and preschools. So what they do is they train older Coloradans for free so that they can be subs or volunteers, so they can even go on to be teachers, or they might be able to help early childhood centers by running their business operations. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign is going to help that nonprofit recruit and then train, again for free, their next bunch of volunteer educators. And then what they do is they connect them one-on-one with early childhood centers around the state that need their help. And they do follow-up to make sure it's all working. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to join me in donating to our latest Word of Thanks microgiving campaign. Feedback tonight about license plates. Who would have guessed? Conrad says the black plate looks like the ones from California and New Mexico. And I've noticed, Conrad, that Delaware has really sweet black plates that just say DEL on them. They're really old school and cool. But anyway, no, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of states that are going towards that retro black and white look, in part because it's really easy for law enforcement and for plate scanners to read them. Christy Jane says, I saw a black plate on a black SUV with dark windows. I thought it was the FBI. Probably was, Christy Jane. Get your affairs in order. Jana says, hey, Kyle, I thought after the Centennial plates in 1976, Colorado voted to always have mountains on the plates. What happened? I've never heard that before. We will check that out. I'll try to track that down for you. And Robert says, always impressed with how far Next is willing to wander into the weeds of your slogan, news, only new. We're trying. After 7 years, we're not new anymore. Maybe we're still not news. See you next time.